You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
So, people love that expression, a rookie move, which is just one of my favorites. And I don't know if it's just because we're Canadians and we really value hockey. Even if we don't like hockey, we still somehow make references all the time to hockey. Have you noticed that as a Canadian?
Aren't rookies like all sort of amateur athletes? Like, is it?
Yeah, but I notice it's more like when people call I usually think of it more as a hockey reference. But anyway, I don't do a lot of gardening. I do some gardening in the backyard. But big rookie move yesterday when I went into the very back and forgot about the fire ants. Are you? Well, you garden.
This sounds like a good story. Continue.
I need to know more about fire ants.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell
they?
you. So I have some logs in this tree had to get cut down in my backyard. And so I've kind of used them to make these little borders. They probably look quite hideous, but I like them and make little patches for gardening. And what I forgot is that as well as myself liking these logs, so do these very, very tiny little red ants. They're not black ants. They're actually red. And they bite you very hard when you disturb them. Very hard. It feels as if someone was taking a cigarette and putting it out on your flesh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So what? You stuck your hand into their...
No, I didn't stick my hand in. So what I first did,
Wait,
I
is it a different body part?
Yeah. I just wasn't thinking. So I put on running shoes and little socks because I don't wear big socks up to my knee, unfortunately. And so I felt the first thing and I was like, oh, what's that? Was that like a twig? Because I was like pulling out weeds. And then I felt something else. And then I looked and I had put my hand and foot into basically a nest of fire ants.
Ooh.
And they were crawling up my pant leg. They were crawling.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you can see these two. There's two welts here.
Whoa,
they're welts.
yeah.
They're actual welts. They're red welts.
God.
So I probably got about a dozen bites
Eesh.
on me. And my neighbor, luckily, is a masterful gardener. And he yelled, oh, those things are bad. And he said, just go inside and put some baking soda and water on. Luckily, that worked. And I've been doing that all day. But holy cow, if anyone is out there, if I can help anyone, because I know Lara's going to be a lot of master gardeners listening going, oh my God, that is a rookie move that you didn't think about the fire ants.
The rookie move is you should get rid of that dead wood.
Well, yes, that. See.
Can't you treat dead wood to be fire ant resistant?
No, I could burn it. I could get a little fire pit, which is what I think I'm going to do. And then all summer long, I can burn it. But
what if you covered it in some kind of paint resin or something?
Well, how much time do I want to do that? Spend time.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you see me
Just
making
get rid
this,
of it.
if you see me making this kind of face right now, it's just because I'm scratching it, and I know I shouldn't. But
oh yeah,
they're everywhere on me. I mean, I don't know how they even got in there. Why do they want to go up my pant leg? What's going on? You guys want to be on the log? That.
Just have a bonfire and burn all that wood.
Done. This is what I'm going to do. Now I finally decide. See, my neighbors got their tree cut down and they were smart because they paid someone to take it away. I was like, maybe I'll use the firewood. What? No, I'm not. It's just take everything away. You're never going to use it again. You know, those people who are like, oh, that's a weird thing. Maybe I'll make a lamp out of it. You won't. You will not make a lamp out of it. Get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fire ants sound kind of mean. So is this
So look up a picture of them.
No, I will after, but do fire ants specifically, do they derive some kind of personal pleasure from the attack, or is it just a defense mechanism?
Well, I'm probably not the right person to ask because I.
Oh, you're not an etymologist?
Well, that, and I'm also very angry at them. So I assume that they were out for revenge on me.
No, I just think mosquitoes feed off the blood, so I kind of get it. But
I don't think they have any other purpose except just being cruel. I think that's... I know I'm anthropomorphizing these ants into some gang of thugs that just, want to Clockwork Orange me or something, but...
They have no purpose other than to be cruel. I love it. It's great.
Yeah,
I want you to write about all the different bugs that you meet this summer, if you don't mind. If you're going to spend the summer in the garden.
Well, yeah, I mean, luckily there aren't that... I did go, I think I told you a couple of weeks ago, I went for that walk in the woods and a giant snake went past me.
Yeah.
Which was super upsetting. So, I'm making an effort to try and be more nature. I know that's not, but...
It's not really working out.
You gotta, work at this, There are, serious animals out there.
Yeah.
I went for a walk and I saw a giant coyote, a really large size one.
Oh, wow. Those are scary.
They are. And then this was actually kind of funny. I put some of those solar torches up in my front yard. And the other day I was just looking out and I saw a raccoon and he stopped by the torches. And I had this feeling he was looking at me like, thanks for these, because I've been tripping down these stairs for years. And anyway, prayer hands.
I saw a skunk in my backyard once.
Oh.
And it's so interesting because at the same time, you're freaking out about getting sprayed, but at the same time, they look so fluffy and cute that
they look so cute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of mixed feelings.
My cousin Kamiko has a long held dream of ending up with a skunk that has had its spray sort of sacs removed and just having
Isn't that mean to do to an animal though?
Oh, I'm sure it is. She wouldn't do it to an animal. She just wanted to rescue one that had had that happen to it.
Can that happen to them?
For a long time. I don't.
Was she a child when she
apparently.
had this dream? Oh.
Well, she was a teenager, yes, but she now is an animal vet tech. So maybe she'll be able to maybe she'll have that experience at some point.
I really caution against having wild animals for pets, though. It never seems to end well. Remember the woman whose face got ripped off by a monkey?
Yeah, that makes sense.
No. I never heard that story.
Was she French?
Yeah, monkeys get super, when they get to a mature stage, they get incredibly sexually aggressive.
That was the whole thing about Friends. Remember the first season, Ross had Marcel the monkey?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, second season, where's Marcel? Well, Marcel was a goddamn nightmare on this show. He was hurting people.
No, it's not advisable at all.
No, even sometimes my dog scares me because if I wake him, little Rudy, he's so cute. If I startle him, the first thing he does in my bed is go arrgh, with his teeth, with his teeth bared.
Yeah.
And then a second later, I am so sorry. But still, his instinct was to kill just in case.
I gotta respect that, I have to say. You can have these animals that are super domesticated for hundreds and hundreds of years, and still that instinct really push come to shove.
Well, we've got
murder.
I kind of think that I might do much the same thing when I'm afraid, right? But not murder.
Ideally, I don't want to believe I could, but I guess if someone was trying to kill me, could I bring myself? Yeah, probably.
Okay, well that's wow.
Wow, you didn't take long to contemplate that.
Yeah, no kidding. That was fast.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. Don't you guys think about this a lot?
Murdering people?
No, just if you had to defend yourself. I wouldn't go out to just
I don't think
murder
of self-defense as murder, though. I know ultimately that sounds like a courtroom designation or something, or a law. But for me, self-defense would just be self-defense, right?
Yeah. That's for the courts to decide, Lisa.
See? I'd like to want to talk without a lawyer present, though. I'm sorry, I can't say anything.
I guess, we are going to get subpoenaed one day for this podcast, so we should probably think.
I'm watching that Mayor of East Town.
Yeah.
Is anyone watching that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes.
I've only watched the first episode, but I'll go back and get into it after.
Yeah. Holy cow.
I'm enjoying it. I recommended it last week.
Yeah.
Or the week before.
I've already watched 4 episodes, so
Well,
I
we're
know.
doing musicals. We're gonna dive into Mayor of Easttown, so I've got some time to. Sounds grim.
It's I can't, you know, it's hard to imagine that any character on that show ever smiles ever. Like nothing good has happened to anybody
ever.
Not once on this entire show.
Well, I mean,
except for Jane Smart, who hid her ice cream in a chip bag. I think she was happy at that one moment, at that one very, very small moment.
I also want to watch the other Jean Smart thing that's happening right now, Hacks. I've heard nothing but great things about that. And it's her as like a Joan Rivers style sort of older woman comedian who gets paired up with this like millennial comedian to try and like make her material more fresh. And it's apparently amazing.
What's it on? What
it's like HBO as well.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued. Yeah, that sounds great.
I love Jean Smart so much.
Oh no! So did you see her in Fargo a couple of years ago? She was amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
I also like just I loved her in Designing Women, which I think was like one of her first shows, and it blows my mind that she has just been this presence on screen as I have grown up, like it's so regularly on TV since I was 8.
And I actually think that worked as a segue. I was hearing it in my head. A story all about women, right? And here we are doing
a story about women. But also, this is like, you've been off for a couple of weeks. We're back together. This is our dream team. We're doing Dreamgirls. Very excited about this episode.
But let's make that clear. Neither one of you kicked me out of the group, though.
No.
I'm not making my triumphant comeback.
No. We had a song battle and you left the band.
You lost for a couple weeks, but you're back now.
I'm back now. Yeah. And you're gonna love me.
Okay? Yeah. 100%. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. And we are so excited to be talking about Dreamgirls tonight. Or at least I am. I don't know. Maybe you're not.
What week are we in for the musicals?
Week 5.
107.
Said the musical fan.
She says that, but she has enjoyed more than she thought she would. So I want that on the record.
I feel like we started this series in 2008, and it's just been going on and on.
I'm going to guess, though, that this one felt like more of a traditional musical. I bet you liked it.
Yes to part 1 and no to part 2.
Oh, okay.
It's a traditional musical, and I didn't. And I've come to realize that, because we've had this ongoing conversation for like a month about what is the difference between a musical and a music movie, or a musical movie.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that while I enjoy musical movies, musicals are not my favorite thing.
So what you like is like a soundtrack,
kind of veered back into it.
Right? You like a soundtrack where people...
Yeah, like I enjoyed like Sister Act or Josie and the Pussycats, like... But kind of now that we're back into true musicals, I'm finding it a little bit.
They're singing their feelings a lot.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's testing me a lot.
Well, I think Dreamgirls does a good job of kind of like bridging those things. Like it does, like it's obviously it's a true musical because its original form is a Broadway musical from 1981. Happy 40th anniversary, Dreamgirls, by the way. But it's also. I thought in the movie it sort of goes between performance songs and the ones where they're like sing fighting and like sing breaking up and sing confessing and like all of those things, which is
a very musical thing. Yeah and I like that. I did that. I like this musical. I do.
I honestly forgot how much I like this musical, and watching it last night, I was just like, this is great.
Yeah. No, it was all there. Everything was there. I don't even know how many costume changes there were in this.
Oh my God.
I mean, it is
the costumes.
outrageous. Come on,
And
Andrea,
the wigs,
you like the costumes.
they're
Come on.
amazing.
Yeah, the costumes were good.
Yeah.
I could have done with about 20 less songs in the production. I only need like 5 or 6 songs in a movie, not like 30.
I am curious. I haven't seen the musical on Broadway or performed live, but like there was an awful lot of songs used as a kind of montage to take us to, the next sort of place where they're going, whether years pass or whether it's just, quickly. So I'm wondering how they do that on stage and stuff, because I have to agree with you, there were some Phil songs there that were just kind of like, let's just get us to that next bridge of where they're going.
Well,
let's get us to the 30 seconds of dialogue we sang till the next song.
Yeah, that's true.
Starts.
I like that. No, there were 4 new songs written for the film, so those were definitely additions. But everything else is I believe true to the musical. So there's some backstory to a couple things though, and we'll get into that. So yes, this is 2 months of musicals and musical movies, 15th anniversary of the film itself, 40th anniversary of its Broadway debut. That's pretty exciting. I'm excited that we're celebrating.
No, I think it's well worth celebrating. And I have to say, it's just hard to imagine there was a time where we didn't have Jennifer Hudson. I mean,
it's weird, right?
Like watching the end credits, which were, really long.
Introducing
introducing Jennifer Hudson. I mean, American Idol fans were like, "What?"
That's your debut performance,
and she won Academy Award for it. So me saying she was great in it is kind of, but she really did knock it out of the park.
She did.
Great performance.
She was amazing. Yeah. All right. So would one of you like to read the background? I know it's quite long, so you don't have to read it all, but
I'll skim here for you.
Okay.
Dreamgirls is a 2006 American musical drama film written and directed by Bill Condon, adapted from the 1981 Broadway musical of the same name. Dreamgirls is a film éclair, a work of fiction taking strong inspiration from the history of the Motown record label and one of its acts, the Supremes. The story follows the history and evolution of American R&B music group through the 60s and 70s through the eyes of a Detroit, Michigan girl group known as the Dreams and their manipulative record executive. The film adaptation stars Jennifer Hudson, Beyonce Knowles, Jamie Foxx, and Eddie Murphy, and also features Danny Glover, Anika Noni Rose, and Keith Robinson. The film marks the acting debut of Hudson, as we just said, and the film was a commercial success, grossing over $155 million at the international box office. The film received 8 Academy Award nominations. Jennifer Hudson won Best Supporting Actress. It also won for Best Sound Mixing. And at the Golden Globes, such an important award to win, Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy. What is that? Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy? Okay.
That's the category.
That's how Andrea Gin sees this, musical or comedy. Either one.
AG, do you want to read the synopsis?
Sure. Deanna, Effie, and Laurel form a music trio called the Dreamettes. When ambitious manager Curtis Taylor Jr. spots the act at a talent show, he offers the chance of a lifetime to be the backup singers for a national star. Taylor takes control of the group and eventually pushes the singers into the spotlight. However, one becomes the star, forcing the other out, which teaches them about the high cost of fame.
Yeah, this is like...
It's like watching Valley of the Dolls kind of too. Remember when we did that?
Well, yeah, a little bit. Like, so this is very... this is based allegedly on the Supremes. It's not allegedly. But the Supremes sort of like deny.
That's Diana Ross there. Come on.
Yeah, the Supremes sort of deny the accuracy of what goes down in the film. Obviously, it's a fictionalized version, and it's we can get into that a little bit. But first, we've talked about like how we feel about Dreamgirls. But was this the first time for each of us? Like, I had seen it before.
I'd seen it before.
First time.
First time. All right. So you didn't know anything about it going into it?
I think I kind of vaguely understood it to be loosely based on the story of the Supremes, but that's about it.
Okay. And so I did feel it was a tad long.
2 hours
Yes.
and 10 minutes? 2 hours and 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Like I would have, like, normally I would be like, we should cut like 30 minutes of this or whatever. But then I started thinking about it, and I was so curious about like how the second act really does seem to drag, because like that's often one of my problems when I go review theater, is that the first act is usually very good or strong or whatever. Not always, but like, you know, if it's a good musical, the first act, whoosh, perfect. The second act, so rough all the time. And so I was really curious about this production, because the second act gives us so much more space to get to know the characters better. Like, you're spending more time with like their disappointments and their and it seemed to take so much care with like each of the characters, and I was kind of surprised by that. But I found out that in the original musical, Effie dies at the end of Act 1. And Jennifer Holliday, who originated the role, was so furious about this ending for her character that she like demanded.
She pulled an Effie, is what you're saying.
She pulled an Effie and demanded that the character live. Wow. And so they rewrote Act 2. And that's
so
like,
she wasn't good. Did she have a baby, or did she?
I guess there was no baby. Like I don't know. I don't know if she like died in like childbirth or died like from like whatever. Like,
I mean, if you were going to go by what it loosely based on the Supreme story, like Florence Ballard does, you know, unfortunately have a heart attack and die before, like, you know, like it leaves the band and it goes through, she has troubles with alcoholism and depression, and then makes a comeback, but doesn't reunite with the Supremes. And then dies. In the midst of her comeback, has a heart attack and dies.
But Jennifer Holliday said, no, Effie is going to live. And she did.
I admire that kind of moxie, gotta say.
I have to say, like, I really appreciated,
if she's playing Effie, that's the actual part.
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's
so weird.
Like, Effie's like, I'm not gonna die. No, you know, like, and she's gonna like stand up for it. And I just like Jennifer Holliday. Like, I watched. I don't know if you guys watched it at all. But like, if you haven't, like, take some time with it after. Is like, watch the performance from Dreamgirls at the Tony Awards the year that it was nominated, and it's Jennifer Holliday's performance. So it's the sing fighting between everyone, and then it's Jennifer Holliday doing you know,
You're Gonna Love Me?
Not going. Yeah, like the big showstopper. And it's unbelievable. Like, she is riveting. And she's also like a good 60 pounds larger than Jennifer Hudson. And it's so powerful to see a like fat woman, and specifically here, a fat Black woman, just know her value and know her worth, and still be sort of heartsick over this man and what's happening to her place in the group, and like just watch her command the stage. It's incredible.
I am watching that right away.
Oh my God,
I love that.
It's so good. It's
it kind of explains. I mean, now that you've mentioned that, now it explains why after it's just kind of like, how did nobody know she had a child? Like, literally, they never spoke to her again. Like, that's a bad friend breakup. Like, you have seen this person for every day for like 15 years of your life, and you never check in on them again. Ever. Not once.
And it's
like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Your brother is the songwriter.
Yeah.
For the, like, your brother doesn't fully understand that you have a baby.
He never once checks in. Not once. No one worries about anything. So anyway, I thought that now it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I think there's some plot holes in Act 2 is, I guess, what I'm saying. But they were there because Act 2 wasn't supposed to go that way.
Probably Beyonce wishes it didn't go that way, because she might have snagged that Academy Award then, hey?
Well, that's the, like, yeah. So I find this really fascinating, because this is like, you know, pretty early Beyonce in terms of her performance and stuff, and obviously she's stunningly beautiful and she's so charismatic on screen, and like I really even the very tiny exchange where Dina's so prim and proper and is like making fun of Laurel and Effie's sort of sexual sexuality, just that tiny exchange of being like is that all you two care about? And both the girls are like, yeah. And it's so cute. And the three of them have such a good dynamic. And I just love, I really love watching Beyonce sort of come into her own and embody that character so well that she's just this beautiful product, as he calls her. As Curtis like sort of refers to her, this beautiful empty product, and we see sort of her come alive through her song as well, and I really enjoyed that. I thought she did such a good job.
Oh yeah. Also, it would be fun to do one day on the podcast Mahogany with Diana Ross, because there's a similar kind of arc to that as well.
Yeah, I have never seen that film, but I was reading about it and I was trying to see if it was streamable anywhere.
It's on YouTube.
Is it on
the whole
YouTube?
Thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, great.
I haven't watched the whole thing either. I just know about it, and I know about the famous scene with Billy D. Williams where he yells at her, that it means money means nothing unless you have someone you love to share it with. And it's just pure Billy D. Williams. It's quite something. Anyway, that's all I've ever seen. So I would like to do Mahogany.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should do that.
It's
never
also a musical.
Oh.
Well, for later.
I mean, it's a musical movie.
I don't even know how many songs it has, because she becomes a fashion model. She doesn't sing.
I thought she sang. No?
No, she sings the theme song.
Yeah,
Do you know
okay, never mind.
But no, she becomes she's a fashion designer, and then she becomes a model.
Okay.
And
I'm
then
sorry, I stepped on AG's thing she was going to say. Apologies.
I know. I was just going to say this movie did make me think about how, girl groups are manufactured, and this idea that, the Diana Ross character of the group wasn't always the original lead singer of the group, because you always think of Diana Ross as the star of the Supremes, right? And to sort of think about how it's like, oh, this character's voice, it's more poppy. It's more, it's sort of on trend for what people wanted to hear, versus this other original lead singer who has a deeper, more powerful, more gravelly voice that maybe just wasn't as on trend for the music of the times. And so, yeah, I never really kind of put much thought into how girl groups are sort of, and, boy groups, I guess, manufactured to sort of meet the zeitgeist of the time.
I think for me, watching this made me think of that documentary, 5 Feet from Stardom. Is it 5 feet or 10 feet? 10 feet from stardom?
20 feet
20
from
feet?
stardom.
Okay.
even further.
Is it 25? 25?
No.
Price is Right rules. It's a great doc, though. I love it.
Yeah, but that, just thinking about the backup singers,
it's 20 feet.
20 feet.
I said 20. I said 20.
Yeah, you
I
did.
swear.
I had it at 5. Maybe that's more intimate. But when you know about, finding out that Sheryl Crow was the backup singer for Michael Jackson, that's a wild thought. And everybody wanting, their eventual goal is to not be a backup singer. Like, this is not what anyone dreams of. Honey, what do you want to be when you grow up? A backup singer? You are there because you're hoping something else is going to happen. Someone is going to either see you or something else, right? So that's what I was thinking a lot of when I was watching this story unfold. But then it's interesting. All three of them are quite different about it, because Laurel is all like, this is fine. I'm fine. I'm good with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, even Dina doesn't want to be front and center. She knows Effie is more talented, but I think that sort of whole I'm special. Curtis chooses me and sees me and is putting me in this central space. The mess of the mess of like the betrayal between the women.
Oof,
Like that's
yes.
I feel like they don't really talk about that.
No, they said that one when they fire her. That's kind of like, wow, that came out of. I'm not going to say it came out of nowhere. Obviously, it didn't. But geez.
Well, and it, Effie gets to be like this complicated, difficult, sort of diva-esque person who I think what we don't get a clearer picture of is like how much like she really thought her and Curtis were a thing, and then he starts sleeping with Dina apparently, and I don't know where Dina's morals went, because she was like supposed to be the sort of prim and proper one who wouldn't be seduced by that attention. But I mean, who's to say? Like, if you think someone's a genius and they are your manager and they believe in you in a way that nobody ever has. Like her mother even says, yeah, I never thought she had much of a voice. And he's like, yeah, but she has a quality. And
yeah, but okay, I'm gonna say that's one of the things, since we all are in music and think about music a lot, that is one of the more mysterious parts of the music industry. And I think, that somebody can be an actual great singer and you're like, meh, there's lots of those, hit every note perfectly.
Yeah.
But then there's that, oh, what's going on over there? Well, that person's not the greatest singer. Yeah, but I'm somehow captivated by them and I want them to sing more. And his name is Leonard Cohen. Or, I mean, fill in the blank, right? Of so many of those kinds of singers.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, out of all those genres of music, pop is the hardest to break into because there's so many, like, it's not enough just to be a great singer, a great vocalist. Like, you can't just be good at it. You have to have, like, a story. You have to have something compelling or, like, about you that people, like, find special or interesting.
It's just the way you feel when you first hear a singer and you're kind of like, I'd like to hear more, and you don't even know why, but there's something mysterious pulling you. And then sometimes you'll watch, like, I'll say Broadway is probably just filled with those people. They're just great singers and they're dynamite performers and you're bored. Because that's what's her name was on Glee to me.
Oh, Leah Michele?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Leah Michele, that's, and I think that's a pretty decent comparison. It's just because, well, she's overly mannered and unemotionally authentic. Like there's, like there's just like,
it's like the dream of wanting to be famous without really loving what you do and really care and think, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a vehicle to get you there, but it's not something that, you don't love the craft of songwriting or any of those things.
But I know, and it's interesting to think in real life, like, Beyonce is obviously like become this world superstar known for being a musical stage performer. And even though like Jennifer Hudson is super famous and well known as a singer, but she's not as famous as Beyonce.
No.
But there's just something about Beyonce, right, that people are compelled by.
Oh, well, Beyonce became like a cultural icon. I mean, like,
like she's creating art that
she's an artist, I would say, as well as a singer and performer, whereas Jennifer Hudson just comes on the stage and just knocks your socks off with her voice.
I think there's like and I think that there's like room for so many different kinds of excellence there, like like Beyonce's playing like 16-dimensional chess or something, and like none of us know what the hell, like
exactly.
It's just like a game we don't even understand. And like Jennifer Hudson is over here doing this like other thing. Like I was watching the trailer for her Aretha movie that's coming up, and like it looks great, like, because I mean, of course she would be
that seems like good casting to me too.
Yeah, of course she'd be a great Aretha Franklin, and like, and I know she's done other films as well that I've really enjoyed. Like, I mean, it's a thankless role in Sex and the City 2 or whatever, one she was in. First one, sorry. But like, she still has like, there's such pleasure to watch Jennifer Hudson on screen, like, and I mean, I think like, what's interesting to me so much is that like this idea, when we get into like the idea of like the making of or like the commodification of a pop superstar and like the number of different people who are thought to be like sort of studio creations, and no one ever buys what they're selling, you know, like that, like there are so many pop stars that exist right now, or like at least pop wannabe stars. Like they want to be pop stars that have a lot of studio money behind them that are never going to get beyond a few million plays on Spotify. It's just never going to happen. And that's one of the things about the history. There was this article, the history of girl groups, and how there were actually like hundreds of girl groups that are lost to history that recorded like one single or like one double side or whatever, and we've never heard of them. Like,
well, there's the new show, the new the what's that, Eve 4?
Oh, Five Ever?
Okay, I'm sorry. 5. Yeah, I really want to watch.
Watched,
me either.
I haven't watched it yet. Oh,
we could do that for musicals, though.
I'm so excited. Well, are we going to be able to get rid of one of the
musicals films? Season has a hard ending.
Okay.
It has a hard ending. This is a sitcom TV show.
About a girl group that
This
broke up and then got back together.
Yeah, this is super different than any of the movies that we're talking about in our 8-week run.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit just about Eddie Murphy? Because I really, like, honestly, I loved the performance. Like, I know it's a long thing, so maybe it didn't sit well with you, AG, but like his long medley performance that takes them through the first segment on the road as they're experiencing their, like, I thought that was like the most thrillingly directed sequence. Like, it just,
well, it feels like
great.
he really gets a chance to like show off his singing talent in this movie, because even though he released pop albums in the 80s, I don't think it really sort of showcased his vocal ability like those hits he had in the 80s, like the way this movie does. I was really actually pretty impressed by
well, if your only exposure to Eddie Murphy is My Girl Wants to Party All the Time, party all the time, party all the time, yes, this would be quite a revelation.
Yeah, that was me, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, and I don't have anything against My Girl Wants to Party All the Time. It's a dumb song, but it's kind of fun. But this was just like, I like this, like the first, like that particular 8-minute sequence to me is like the best of Bill Condon directing, the best choreography, the just like the best that we see the whole time, like the tightest sort of segment of the film. And I felt like I actually had like sort of been on a bit of a marathon with them. Like I felt the whirlwind of the success when we got to the end of the sequence. And I was like, whew, oh, great. Now these racists in Miami Beach,
I always feel like, though, these movies all have the same trajectory, right? We have like that, like I was watching like when we did Selena, they're young and fresh and sweet and innocent. And then we have to watch them on a bus a lot, like a lot of buses. And then eventually we see them in some kind of outrageous home where they're, clacking their heels across the floor of some, monster mansion. And then everything falls apart because things get crazy, man. Everything got crazy. And the drugs and then other women and that whole thing. It just feels like it's such a, like, I'd like to see a story. I'm always this person that argues it's stupid because I would not enjoy it when there's no conflict. But I'm like,
there's no story arc. It's
I was like, I want no story arc at all.
I just
show
want
me that movie, you coward.
To get successful and just enjoy it for a long time, and not in a weird, super creepy way where they suddenly have to get mink coats or leopard spotted rugs, and like when all of a sudden they're walking into that house.
But is there a story like that in real life that exists of the life of any pop stars? Like, is there that story where they get super successful and then they just live a happy, normal life without excess?
No. No, I know that's not a movie anybody wants to see either.
But I'm thinking about your question, AG. Like, in real life, is there any well-adjusted, non-excessive, successful pop star? And that's a real stumper. Like, I might have to think about that for a long time, because I'm trying to think of like the real sort of like keeping it real pop star seems to be kind of a
well, so far Shawn Mendes hasn't humiliated himself yet, has he?
I mean, he does have a man bun and walks his dogs a lot.
That we're not talking about. I'm talking about like Justin Bieber stuff, which got well out of control. Remember, he had a monkey.
Yeah, he did have a monkey. I'm like trying to think of like pop stars that, but like we need ones that have already been.
Yeah, I don't think Shawn Mendes has been around long enough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
fair,
we have to
fair.
have like someone who peaked and then like maintained and did okay.
Madonna didn't do too bad. She didn't like.
Oh, no.
She's taken milk baths in COVID.
No, but I meant at her peak. You know, like there wasn't a really. Well, she wasn't a kid either when she started. That makes a difference as well.
Yeah,
we're talking about. Because I mean, Beyonce. They said or her character was 16 when she was just like started.
Yeah. There's lots of
because there's that creepy line that Jamie Foxx has when he says, "I always think of you as 16."
I know, it's the creepiest line I've ever heard in my entire life. I was just, oh my god, my skin left my body.
Oh yeah, no, I was just, oh boy,
it was no good. What I really do appreciate so much about Dreamgirls, and obviously this makes sense because we're looking at, specifically like Black groups touring when there's like there's the height of the civil rights movement and so many different things going on, and seeing the there's always like a context of racial violence and racism. It's always there sort of around them, but it doesn't so it's always sort of like part of their lives, in addition to sort of like trying to figure out how to find their own success and niche in a music industry that wants to keep them out. Like, when I remember the first time watching this movie, like for me, and when you cut to the white group that is doing their cover,
Cadillac song.
They're doing their cover of Cadillac.
Yeah.
And I remember even back then just being like, I don't know. And I just like, I didn't fully understand that was such a common practice, and obviously like just a huge racist practice of like white artists re-recording Black hits to make them more palatable to white audiences and then steal the fame of that. Like, and I know this happens all the time, and I'm not like as naive.
Can I just interject though that it was awesome to see it in Tina Turner's biography that she reversed it with
yes,
What's Love Got to Do with It?
Exactly. yes. And that's like, I mean, these are the sort of, I felt like there was like, there's so much going on in this movie that like I feel it doesn't, critics don't give it as much credit as it deserves.
However, there was also that, if like you said that, I guess people from Motown weren't thrilled with the portrayal of like him being Berry Gordy and things, right? But the recycling of songs was super popular at the time.
Oh, like covering other people's songs. Like,
well, it wasn't even covering. It was just like he had them and he would just be like, okay. He like with Heard It on the Grapevine, Gladys Knight recorded a version. It didn't go as well as he wanted it, so then he gave it to Marvin Gaye. Like they would just take any song that didn't quite work out. And
that makes a lot of sense to me.
Like, me too.
But more so just like I'm thinking about it really from just like the racist perspective.
Oh yeah, no, that was a totally different. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
it's like
was,
ugh. I hate
and I'm guessing rights issues and stuff weren't quite what they are now. So,
but it's interesting to think. Like, I wonder when that trend stopped. Because nowadays people don't do that.
No, they'll put out a cover later, but they'll be very clear on saying it's a cover. They're not putting it out trying to make it another hit. I'm guessing it probably finished in the 60s, wouldn't you?
Well, I think when ownership became less about record labels wouldn't necessarily control the publishing rights past the late 70s. I'm like, and once radio stations became more plentiful, and they had more radio stations across the country that you couldn't kind of control. Like you could only kind of keep that tight when you are like the main person controlling everything. And like Motown, Berry Gordy, like his whole legacy, like it wasn't what it was in the 70s, what it was in the 60s, just because like the industries were building and getting bigger, and people were building their own industries by, trying to see like what he had done well. And like, I think like, I just think it couldn't ever like stay what it was because it kept growing and growing and growing.
Mm-hmm.
So the music in this movie strikes me as being very like Broadway tune versus like Motown.
Oh yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah.
But like, why do you think that choice was made?
I think Broadway's just its own beast. I mean,
I do think you have to like play with a certain convention of Broadway style songs. Like, I think they did a fairly decent job trying to sort of marry the two styles together. Like some of them are obviously like just super Broadway kind of showstopper kind of things, but like particularly the montage when Eddie Murphy is performing, I thought that was like, it sounded like it could have been Motown. Like one of the early Dreamettes songs sounded a little, and even some of the stuff like as he's coming out of the 70s, like you could maybe conceive of like Lionel Richie, doing one of those songs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think so every Broadway show has to have Broadway songs no matter what the genre?
Well, they're always telling a story though, right? It's not even like Jagged Little Pill isn't just the album, right? They've strung it together to try to make a story out of it, right? So the songs have to have a place to tell a story. That's kind of the Broadway musical anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think jukebox musicals get to sort of play by a slightly different set of rules. So so Jagged Little Pill, I think, counts as kind of a jukebox musical. And the Broadway interpretations of the songs are mostly faithful to the album, but they're just like bigger and like sort of fuller adaptations. Like they sound like Jagged Little Pill 2.0, you know? Instead of an unplugged, they got the orchestral treatment, and that's sort of the shift. And I think like other jukebox musicals that are taking sort of like specific songs, they're playing them much more faithfully to be like say for Rock of Ages. Like, I do not like Rock of Ages. It's not a good musical. The songs are okay, because they're mostly like 80s hair metal songs and they're fun and like the words and stuff, but like they're not, the storyline that they are propping up is not great. You know what I mean? Like it's not doing very good work.
It's not Wicked.
But so I've never seen Hamilton before. Mm-hmm. But is it like a Broadway style hip hop or is it hip hop?
It's Broadway style hip hop. Yeah.
Some people really cringe in it.
Yeah.
Like real hip hop fans are like, whoa, I gotta go. From what I understand. Yeah. But that's okay. I'm not trying to cut down the success. I'm just.
No. Like, I mean, Hamilton is a subversive, like it's subversive for what it does. Mm-hmm. But it's still like Lin-Manuel Miranda is still, a beloved Broadway figure.
Yes. I like how no one can see your little smile. Like, do you get where I'm going?
Well, no, because like I've seen.
He's not joining Wu-Tang is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because and he has such a specific cadence and style. Like it's not. We've all listened to a lot of hip hop. It's not particularly. It's not like inventive hip hop. But it's inventive Broadway hip hop.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's got a different place and a different purpose, and it's certainly bringing a different sound to conventional Broadway musicals, which is that's its disruption. But it's not like, you know, I don't think most people would think of it as like really super inventive hip hop.
No.
Yeah. Well, I was just wondering if like Dreamgirls was kind of made today, like if it was written today, they would attempt to be more authentic with the music, or it would still just be like basically Broadway
Probably.
tunes.
I think you're right to flag that because it does have a sort of old school feel to it, like a chorus line or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think they would have like maybe like bought the
Some
rights
Motown
to use the
songs,
music.
yeah.
Like but I mean there are like some, I think there's a couple different Jukebox Motown musicals. So you know, I don't know what the rights issues are around that or not, but so did you have like do either, outside of like Jennifer Hudson solo, do either of you have a song that you like legit like from Dreamgirls?
I like the song Beyonce sings at the end, Listen.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that one.
I sent you a text saying that there was this song they did called, what was it? What did I say? What is it called? I step into the dark.
Step into the bad side.
I step into the bad side when they do that montage of how he starts getting, you know, mob money to support his label. And all the guys are dancing, and I quite like that song. I thought that was super fun and catchy, and I just thought I'd like to step into the dark side. It kind of, I quite like that song. But I mean, honestly, I don't know what it felt like making the movie, or like I'm gonna watch that Jennifer Holiday performance. But it is just such a great song and so well performed, and the moment that leads up to it, the entire situation for Effie, which is like if there was an intermission in a movie, that's where it would come after, right? Just like, because that changes everything. But it is so great that it kind of just puts the whole film into kind of the rest of it's a yawn.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, I do like the second half, as I said, but like, and actually one of my other favorite songs comes in the second half. So obviously I love Eddie Murphy's montage performance up front, but I actually really liked Patience. I actually thought it was great. And again, having these small moments where, you know, these characters can comment about what's happening outside the studio doors, even though they're sort of insulated by a certain amount of wealth and stardom. There's all of these things that are extremely important to their lives and to the lives of the culture around them and the world going on. And so I like it when we have these moments that acknowledge that. And when like Sharon Leal, who's great, by the way, like I really like her, and she ends up being like the fourth dream at and I see her in things all the time, and I really like her. But when she's like, you know, she's like, I care about this stuff because like my brother is in Vietnam, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, just thinking about all of the huge things that are happening in the 60s and 70s. I like that we don't turn our backs on that.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Some people were not very nice to the reviews of the film.
Not surprised, but yes.
There's like some, some people liked it a lot. David Rooney of Variety reported that, quote unquote, tremendously exciting musical sequences, and that after the Phantom of the Opera, Rent, and the producers botched the transfer from stage to screen, Dreamgirls gets it right. And I can agree with parts of that. I don't think Rent was such a huge botch, but I'm a sucker for...
So let's hear it. Do you think this movie pops?
Yes.
I do. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's a musical. I don't know if you want to call it a movie. I mean, I do think that's an important distinction. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you like musicals... But then again, I would also just tell you to watch it just to get to that show-stopping song. It's just dazzling. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it pops if you like musicals.
Yeah. I'll go with
qualifier.
and to those anyone listening who doesn't like musicals and is thinking about it, just like there's like 34 songs and it's a 2-hour movie. Think about that ratio before you go in.
I love this warning that you're gonna apply. I feel like if you start reviewing films on websites, you can
it'll just be like a math equation.
The math equation is
it was a long movie
songs.
Though. Also, it really was long. I think 2 hours and 10 minutes can be a chore.
Yeah, I agree. But it pops for me.
Yeah, it pops for me.
All right. So we also love to leave our episodes on things we recommend. Lisa, would you like to go first?
Sure. So I started reading this book. I think it's just a couple of years old, from 2019. Yes, 2019. And it is called How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy by Jenny Odell. Have either of you heard of it?
I have been given it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can see that. I mean, did that sound wrong?
No, I get it.
Yeah. Just about how to disconnect from the idea of always, you always have to be achieving and progress, and how to find meaningful ways to connect with the world and the people around you. And I wouldn't say it's completely anti-technology. It's more just thinking and being thoughtful, and also recognizing that people have been overwhelmed before and had to make some choices. And it's just a really good read. I highly recommend it.
Awesome. AG, what about you?
I started watching the Underground Railroad. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's very good. It's based on Colson Whitehead's book. And it's very, awful, like some parts of it to watch and like hard to watch, but I think it's a work of, art that is, I think that is important to see. But yeah, and so I would recommend watching it.
Excellent.
It sounds great, and I've heard nothing but good things. So yes, exciting. I'm going to go in a whole other direction, but spending a lot of time with my 12-year-old niece and watching all kinds of different things, but specifically, credit to Carlos. He introduced us to a show called City of Ghosts. It's on Netflix.
Oh.
And it's a family sort of show that you can watch together. It's animated. And it's so this is the little write-up of it. Meet the Ghost Club. Their adventures take them all around Los Angeles as they interview ghosts, solve problems, and learn about their city's history. And the creator is Elizabeth Ito. And we've only watched the first episode. It's so charming and so fun and so interesting, and I think really beautifully animated, and the voices are so good. And it's been great. I love it so much.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's so nice.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff there.
So nice. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on our social media channels or disconnect. Honestly, read that book that Lisa recommended. Get the heck out of here, but take us with you.
Yes.
Into your ears, and rate and review us 5 stars before you disconnect.
Always 5 stars. And just want to say thanks for letting me back in the band. Really appreciated it. We're probably, now that we're back together again, we'll probably be coming to a city near you one day, bringing.
If the opening plans are any indication, we are on tour
back
in the fall.
We will see you soon. And thank you, even more importantly right now, to Andrea Gin for producing, co-hosting, and putting herself through quite a gauntlet of musicals. There's no way. I don't think there's any way we can really thank you.
The watching the musicals part is the hardest out of all those things.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
bye
everyone.
everyone.